UFC 264 happened, and Conor McGregor's leg exploded. Now, that's a catastrophic injury. I don't wish it on anyone. I hope Conor recovers quickly, yada, yada, yada. We've all heard it before. But what I will say is that while tragic, the injury was not unexpected. I knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen, even if you didn't know that you knew it was going to happen. In this video, I'm going to explain what I think happened to Conor McGregor's leg and what you and I can do to prevent it from happening to us. And no, the answer isn't don't get in a fist fight with Dustin Poirier, although that is good advice. So make sure you're subscribed and you have notifications turned on, and let's get started. I want to make it very clear, I'm not taking anything away from Dustin Poirier. In my mind, Conor's leg breaking had nothing to do with him losing the fight. Dustin Poirier beat the brakes off of that man for basically 3 minutes straight. So the way I see things, Dustin got a TKO and then Conor's leg broke, and the two events are not related. That being said, at the end of round 1, Conor McGregor's tibia broke. At first it looked like maybe his ankle broke, but later on a doctor confirmed no, it was the tibia, which is essentially just your shin bone. I've heard two major theories as to how this happened. The first came from the man himself, Dustin Poirier, who says that he felt Conor's leg break after he checked a kick early in round 1. And while I'm not saying I know more than Dustin, I do think that's unlikely. Because if you rewatch the fight, Dustin didn't really check any kicks that often, and certainly didn't check them hard enough to break Conor's leg. There was a point where it looked like Conor caught Dustin's kneecap, and that could do some serious damage, but he caught the kneecap on his foot, not on his shin. So I'm not saying Dustin's wrong, I'm just saying that's probably not what happened. The second theory that I heard came from Coach John Kavanagh, Conor's head coach, who said that Conor suffered an injury before the fight, bad enough that they had to go get x-rays done. I don't see a doctor looking at an x-ray of a man's leg and seeing some kind of sign of a breakage happening soon, and then saying, yes, you're cleared to fight. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what you could possibly see on an x-ray. I'm just saying, if there's signs of a break happening, I don't think he would have gotten cleared to fight, and I think he would have pulled out before the fight happened. But for the purpose of this video, it really doesn't matter how it happened. What I'm more concerned with is the circumstances of why it happened. Time to talk about everyone's favorite thing, math. Since the Eddie Alvarez fight in 2015, Conor has fought a total of 6 times. Assuming each of those fights had a 10-week fight camp, that's a total of 60 weeks, which sounds like a lot. And for a high-level athlete who's already conditioned, who already knows all their techniques, yes, that's some good training time. However, in the interim when he doesn't have a fight, we know that Conor isn't putting in quality hours while training. He's off starting businesses, off getting arrested, whatever. Compare that to the average person. Let's say you go to your BJJ gym 2 to 3 times per week, every single week of the year. At the end of 1 year, you've put in 52 weeks worth of training, which is just slightly less than the total time that Conor spent in the gym in the last 6 years. Again, I'm not taking anything away from him as a professional athlete, but I am saying in terms of time spent, the average person is putting more in than Conor. But what does that mean? Let me give you an example, see if you can figure it out. It's my first day. I've just learned how to throw a roundhouse kick, and I'm gonna throw it at the bag. So, I make sure my stance is right, take a deep breath, and whoosh. Oh, that really hurt. And I think I may have bruised my shin a little bit. Okay, I don't wanna look weak. I'm gonna do it again. Maybe I did it wrong. Take a deep breath and whoosh. Oh, that really hurt. That really hurt, and didn't break the skin, but that's a bruise forming. Do it again, boom. Do it again and again and again, and you're limping out of the gym. But you're not gonna get discouraged, so you come back next week and do it again. So, second week you come in, hurts a little bit less, but still hurts. Third week, still a little sting, and now let's say it's the 4th week and bum, bum, bum. All kicks, no problem. What you did is create tiny microfractures in your bone that healed and came back stronger. This is called Wolff's Law. And the dumb way of explaining it is that hit stuff make better at hit stuff. The smarter way of saying that is that by creating microfractures in your bone and letting them heal back stronger, your body will get better at the demands that you're putting on it. So in the beginning, it will suck. Obviously, our bodies are not meant to slam into other objects at a high speed. But as you teach your body that that's what you want to do, it will say, okay, and create a specific adaptation to an imposed demand. That again is another scientific term that means if I ask your body to do a thing, it will figure out a way to make it happen. But this is where people like to take things too far. Because they think, well, if kicking the heavy bag conditions my leg to kick the heavy bag, then kicking the baseball bat conditions my leg to destroy a baseball bat. Which is technically true, but the risk of injury you would have while conditioning yourself to hit this thing is so high that it's almost not worth doing. And the truth is, there's not really a point of negative returns when you're hitting the heavy bag. Your body doesn't stop conditioning itself just because it gets used to the heavy bag. Thinking about it, putting a boxing glove on should restrict my body's ability to create bone conditioning because my bones aren't getting microfractures, right? I'm protected by a couple layers of padding and hopefully some hand wraps. That's actually not the case because I'm still throwing my hand top speed into another object, but it's softened by the fact that I have a couple layers of cloth and a couple layers of padding between me and the object. When I punch the bag, depending on how hard I'm doing it, I'm still conditioning my hands. I'm still creating the microfractures. But if I decide I want to be a karate badass and start punching a baseball bat, am I creating microfractures or just fractures? Honestly, it's kind of a toss-up, right? Because you could create microfractures depending on how you're punching this thing, or you could straight up break your hand. And yes, you could break your hand working on a heavy bag, but which one's more likely? The point that I'm ultimately trying to make is that you're gonna get the same benefit with less risk working on a heavy bag or working on pads than you would on something ridiculous like a baseball bat or rolling PVC down your legs or even kicking a banana tree. Those things are great for an Instagram video, but not necessarily the best tool to help you train. Again, if you get injured, you're taken out of the gym and that defeats the whole point. And speaking of being out of the gym, so you've been training 3 or 4 times a week for a year. Your hands are now good and strong. Your shins don't hurt when you kick the bag. You can throw full power whenever you want and your little bones don't hurt. That's awesome. But you need to remember, stop. Body conditioning is a use it or lose it kind of benefit. Again, remember, our body adapts to the demand that we're putting on it. So let's say you decide to take a 1-month vacation and then you come back and decide to take time off training to focus more on your work. And before you know it, you've now spent 3 months out of the gym. And now it's your first day back, you get in your stance and throw your first roundhouse kick and well, it didn't hurt as bad as the first day, but it definitely didn't feel as good as it used to. Our bodies want to operate at the lowest possible level of operation at all times. And martial arts is a high level of operation. So the minute you take that demand away, our body adapts and goes right back to being lazy. That's just the way our bodies work. There's a way to offset this. There's a way to permanently have the benefits of body conditioning. And that's where we talk about iron body conditioning. Because yes, thrusting your hands into buckets of rice or rock or kicking banana trees will eventually make you strong enough to always do that. If you take a look at these karate guys' hands, they don't have knuckles anymore. They basically have giant stones at the end of their wrist. But now we're not talking about body conditioning anymore. We're talking about body recomposition. They are reshaping the way their body looks and acts so that they can always have the ability to punch through a solid brick wall. But for most of us, that's not only not something we don't want to do, it's also unnecessary. Because it doesn't take me a long time to recondition my hands if I've been away for a little bit. And since I only want to hit the heavy bag or another human being, I don't need to make my hands strong enough to punch through a wall. And that's without talking about the threat of osteoporosis or arthritis. So if you like iron body stuff, that's great for you. I just think for the general population, it's kind of unnecessary. So let's bring that back to Conor. Here's what I think happened to Conor McGregor's leg. I think outside of a fighting camp, he doesn't spend enough time in the gym to get his body ready for a fight camp, let alone a fight. I think Conor's body was not reconditioned to the demand that he was putting on it. And that's ignoring the fact that he put a huge demand on his legs specifically. He had a very kick-heavy game. He ran out the gate throwing spinning back kicks and threw leg kick after leg kick after leg kick, trying to offset the calf kick, which was the killer in the second fight. Although we can argue about if that's really what did him in, but that's a different video. So the reason that you and I were not surprised when Conor's leg broke was because looking at the situation on paper, knowing that he's only spending 10 weeks out of the year seriously training, and he put a super high demand on his legs, it wasn't surprising when the legs gave out. So to make that applicable for us, if I want to throw super heavy punches all the time, then I need to be showing up at the gym regularly and making sure not only that I know how to do that, but that I'm conditioning my body to withstand the force of throwing those punches. Or you need to be okay with the fact that you're only going to show up a couple times out of the week and you can't throw your hands as hard as you want to because your body's not adapted to that. So that's what I think happened to Conor. I don't think he was walking in with an injury. I don't think he got injured early on in the round. I think that was a broken down body that's not spending enough time in the gym to properly adapt to the demand that he was putting on it. And that's something we can all easily avoid by just spending time in the gym, by just showing up and training every single day. And we need to pay attention to our recovery because we need to remember that when we're in the gym, whether we're working the heavy bag, working with a partner, or lifting weights, what we're doing is tearing down the body. The body doesn't get stronger in the gym, it gets stronger outside of the gym. So when you're done training, Make sure you get your 8 hours of sleep, rehydrate, eat properly, foam roll, whatever your recovery method is, pay attention to it. That all being said, if you guys liked the video, if you feel like you learned something, and if you're looking for a channel that combines the practicality of combat sports with the reality of self-defense and the fun of traditional martial arts, then please be sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, like, share, and leave a comment. And if you're looking to support the channel, head on over to combatsd.square.site and pick up a t-shirt, coffee mug, crop top, or anything else we have on the site. That's the best way to show support. This has been Rob in Combat Self-Defense. I want to thank you guys for all the hard work. Thank you for the hard work yet to be done. Remember to put in your quality hours in the gym, and I'll see you next time.